Welcome to Tiny Rails, the fun little game with a train. I must have said that, about 80 plus times so far. This is my train going past, not that you can see a lot of it in the night time. I'm currently doing the Africa quests, and I'm on chapter 2 of the Africa quests. And last time round it sent me to Okinawa to collect something. So as I start, I should be coming into Okinawa now. And at least you can see my train now in daylight. I'm here to collect some copper wire, apparently. And any lotus flowers here? Yep, I'll collect them as well. Sophia, this item should handle all the power we will be generating. Agreed. My only worry is the possibility of overheating the engine. We should look into some coolant. Agreed. Let's add that to the list, just in case my calculations are off. Great work, team. I'm feeling really good about this. Where are we going next? Oh, Cyril turns up with his funny moustache. Well, well, fancy bumping into you here. Are you getting some odds and ends for the race? Nothing to concern yourself with, Cyril. You won't need those trinkets anyway. Victory will be mine. You smug jerk. How about a pre-race, off the books, from here to Egypt? No tricks, no upgrades. What's in it for me, Valerie? Bragging rights. You always say you're the best in the world. Prove it. My train could use a warm-up. Very well, assemble your crew. See you in Egypt, champ. I haven't seen this side of you before, Valerie. I used to run track, so racing is in my blood. Let's get out of here and beat Cyril. Okay. Some people are a tad overly competitive. Make a stop at Cairo. Okay. If that's what you want. Where is Cairo exactly? I know it's in Africa, somewhere towards the top. Yeah. Alrighty, we go back through Japan. So I can take the boat. Hopefully I can wipe that smugness off Cyril's face. Because I don't like Cyril. But just because I want to wipe the smugness off his face doesn't mean my train is going to be good enough to do so. There is no obstacle. There is no time limit in getting to Cairo. It's just a matter of getting to Cairo and which way I choose to go. And the overland route is long. The boat route is relatively long, but should be slightly quicker, even if it does mean a lot of stops. But it will also give me a little bit of an opportunity to pick up some more cargo along the way that's useful. Peanuts and salt, I believe. At least that is my current thought. Of course, I've got to get back through Japan yet. Hence the speed boosts. Now, I have had this engine on my train for a while. Perhaps it's time I changed engines as I'm doing all this travelling and revert to a faster engine. Though it will cut down on my passenger... not capacity, well, the amount of passengers I get, whatever the word that should have been. Nothing here I want, so just let me dump the unwanted cargo. Yes, the amount of passengers I get affects the amount of money that goes into my caboose, and one of the main things I need right now is money. I need just over another 500,000 for the next thing I want to do. Which is going to take me a little while to gather 500,000. My one carriage or car that's being upgraded, or needs to be upgraded, is about 7,000 experience points short of where it needs to get to, so it's got a ways to go before that happens. Here we are, go to Hiroshima. Yeah, looks like it's when I came through here recently, so it doesn't look like I'm going to get any lotus flowers between now and getting on the boat. But I'll check that just to make sure. Yep, no lotus flowers there, none there, and none in Tokyo. So I won't be able to pick up any useful cargo through Japan. So all I can do is deliver the passengers I've got and keep going, but it does add money to my caboose. Let's go find my caboose. It's currently got 42,000 in it. That'll get me over the 1.5 million mark for cash, because I'm carrying quite a few passengers through Japan. 106 currently. Make that 160. Okay, that suddenly went up rather dramatically. Big boost of speed. Through Nagoya. I'm just wondering if I should change out some of these wonderful money-making cars I got at the front of my train. Oh, I've now got 195 passengers. Stroth. Out of a possible 199. Okay, I've now got 200 passengers out of a possible 199. Make that 199 passengers. Okay. Well, they should disappear pretty fast as I go through the Asia East port and into Africa, because I don't think there's that many passengers that want to travel from Japan to Africa. But I guess we'll find out shortly. Africa Westport. Head for Constantine. So here we are now in Africa West. Might as well collect all the jobs I've been completing. Apparently I completed quite a few. Actually, I now need to replace said jobs. But I'll continue doing that in a second once I've been in and out of Casablanca. After picking up some peanuts. Yep, nothing else I want. Let me go back to replacing the jobs. And I'm now down to 20 passengers on my train from the 199 I had a short while ago. Still need 2 more jobs. Right, that's all the jobs filled up. More peanuts. Where am I headed to? Oh, over there. Right, I might as well set that as my destination. Let it figure out the shortest and best route. Just over 450,000 in cash required to get me the amount I want. Some salt, always useful. Apparently I'm carrying salted peanuts with lotus flowers. Sound like a wonderfully tasteful dish. Just curious actually, wrong button. I've now completed 59% of the total quest. I'm in Africa chapter 2-3. I don't know how many individual tasks there are in chapter 2, but I imagine there's at least 8, possibly anything up to 15, who knows. It would be nice if it actually had a few of them that were clustered relatively close together. I know this game wants you to travel all across its length and breadth, but every now and then it would be nice if they put some of them closer together. More peanuts and salt, and away we go. On to Iran, Algeria. As evening draws in, you can tell that from the moon coming up towards the right. I think what else has been going on? Oh yes, Man City won the Carabao Cup. And they sometime recently appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport to overturn their 2-year ban from European competition, which takes effect at the end of this season, which I thought was funny. And they're still in the European Cup this year, so I'm pretty sure that UEFA will be desperate for them not to win the European Cup this year, because that would be a funny situation if the people who banned them from their wonderful competition at the end of this season had to present them with the most prestigious trophy in European sport at the end of the year, just before their ban takes effect, assuming it doesn't get overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which I must admit I hope it doesn't. They broke the laws. There was a series of articles in Europe, mainly run by one of the German, is it Der Spiegel? Something like that, and a load of other European media outlets, based on the Football Leaks website. I forget the guy's name, he's currently in jail in Portugal or Spain. But based on the whole story, a couple of the journalists involved wrote a book about what they did, and one of the things that was prominently mentioned in said book was how Manchester City were financing their wonderful team based on documents of which apparently this guy hacked from somewhere, as well as the interest about the tax activities of Cristiano Ronaldo, Mourinho, and a whole bunch of others, and the agencies and agents that are involved, and the dubious money-making practices of football transfer, and how players are basically sold whether they want to be or not, just so the transfer fee is generated so the agencies can make more money. It was a very interesting book, written in English. I think it's maybe entitled Football Leaks or something like that. Available on Amazon in Kindle format, and I'm sure by all good booksellers in either physical format or some kind of electronic copy. But well worth a read if you've got an interest in football / soccer if you're American, about how clubs do their financial dealings and some of the dubious people and the practices involved. It's definitely interesting. Oh good, more peanuts. I don't know how many peanuts I've actually got now. I've got 350, 380 peanuts, which is not bad. I need about 600-ish, I think, to deliver to Jakarta. And I've only got cargo capacity on my train now of 185, so to deliver the ones I've got would require at least 2 trips to Jakarta from the nearest depot. Nothing there that I want. Time to collect some more money from the jobs I've completed. I completed 9 out of the 10 jobs I had on my list. That's a reasonable chunk of change. About 45,000. Still need more jobs. Need one more job. That one will do. Another bit of salt and some more peanuts. I might have to make a detour from after I get to Cairo to a depot, pick up a load of peanuts and deliver them to Jakarta. I might not have to, I might want to, just because it would be nice to A, get closer to finishing the cargo delivery to Jakarta. But as I said, I'm going to have to make 2 trips anyway with my current train cargo capacity, so I've got to do them at some point. Oh, quite a chunk of salt. A whole 10. Which I still need, probably around 450-ish, I think. Salt for the one place that still needs it, which is somewhere over in Oceania. So that's going to be a minimum of 3 trips in total when I get that lot together. I might as well, as I'm travelling along. See how much money I've now got in my caboose. Another 38,000. Gets me closer to the 2 million that I'm looking to gather by the way of cash. And one more bit of salt. Any peanuts? One whole peanut. And yes, I am now in Tunisia. Probably a good time to do a bit of a clean and a maintenance of my train. Okay, I'll come down here, then across here and up, and I'll be in Cairo. I should get to Cairo before the end of this episode. Then I'll see where it's sending me after that. One more peanut, 2 more salt. And I think as I go into, yep, I'm now into Africa East, where there is no more salt and peanuts in this area. They're all part of Africa West stations. This, for example, is more ribs, sheep, oranges, tomatoes, cooking oil, pineapple, honey, etc. So I don't even need to check the cargo at these stations until I now hit Cairo, because there's absolutely nothing in any of these stations that I want in Africa East, and there's nothing I will need left, or nothing left I can deliver that I've got access to in Africa East either. So I don't have to drop off anything, and I don't have to pick up anything, so just continue onwards. Drop off the passengers, pick up the next lot, and keep moving. Nothing to see here, move along. But yes, anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, if you get the chance to read the Football Leaks book, if you haven't already seen the story and the website and the media coverage, etc., all over Europe, it is certainly very interesting. There again, I do like reading behind-the-scenes books, not just of the leaks and the scandals, but there was a series of books done by an English journalist about scouting, the managers, the youth players behind English clubs, and what they go through, how the system works, how academies work, how transfers and players move between leagues and why. And he also did one on non-league football and how non-league clubs operate and work and the pressures and disadvantages they're under. There's some very interesting books and behind the scenes in soccer. Not just the autobiographies of famous people, which tend to be pretty boring because, let's face it, and this is a generalization I know, but most sports stars, certainly in English football and Americans in their sports as well, are, again, generalization, the majority are poorly educated, shall we say. They're not eloquent, they're poorly educated, and without assistance struggle to put together a coherent sentence. There are many exceptions. However, best example I can think of off the top of my head, if you listen to Harry Kane speak in a post-match interview, or any kind of interview to be honest, he may be intelligent for all I know, but he sounds dumber than a box of rocks. And he's England's star striker. He would be if he wasn't injured currently. Whereas you listen to Graham Lasso, a former England player and now a commentator, analyst on NBC for English Premier League soccer, he was obviously a well-educated, well-read and very articulate person. As is his cohort Lee Dixon, is, I would say, reasonably educated and reasonably intelligent or well-spoken. He is more normal, but most of them struggle to string 3 or 4 sentences together because, let's face it, they knew they were going to be professional footballers, so school and education wasn't that important to them. In the same way it is with American sports stars who go to college knowing the only reason they're going to college is so that they can continue their sports playing and then make it into a pro sport. So their interest in their education is not that high. They're purely there for a purpose. Whereas a lot of the European players do tend to take their education a lot more seriously. There are very, very many examples of highly educated, highly articulate Spanish footballers, and Portuguese for that matter, Germans. Maybe you just don't see as many of the less educated ones being interviewed. In England, you're considered one of the lads, one of the general population, not too big for your boots, if you speak the same way as the general population, which is poorly educated, hardly particularly articulate. I don't know why I clicked on that. So it keeps you in touch with your roots and being a common man and a man of the people. Maybe some of that plays into it, because the English are innately suspicious of those who are better educated and speak differently than them. But I'm sticking with my theory that most English footballers are dumber than a box of rocks. Maybe I'm prejudiced, and I'm not doing this based on colour, sort of area you come from. No, it's pretty much across the board. And Harry Kane is the wonderful English saviour, striker, and he's white and sounds like the person you could have a 30-second conversation with and then walk away thinking, oh dear God, why did I bother speaking to you? But because he can hit the back of the net with the ball, he is lauded. Yes, I'm cynical and sarcastic and have a low opinion of my fellow man. That's not strictly true. I have a high opinion of those who can talk and explain a point, whatever that point may be. If they can talk to a reasonable degree of intelligence and eloquence about it, I will give them consideration and be willing to listen. If every second word is "you know," and "I think," and yeah, well, we did what the gaffer said, then I'm going to consider you an uneducated, less than interesting person. It's a prejudice, I know. Well, I could say I'm prejudiced. I don't like 99% of the human population, so that's just what I'm like. Because I'm English. We don't like 99% of the rest of the world to begin with, and those of us who are English and are reasonably educated, I say I only go with reasonably because I'm not highly educated as far as all things are concerned. We tend to look down upon the English population as well. So if you're foreign, we look down upon you because you're foreign, and if you're English and you don't speak as well and weren't as well educated as I am, then I look down upon you too. So there. Ah, Valerie, we did it! Wait a minute, Cyril is already here. How in the world did he manage that? Why, hello. Care for a cup of tea, old friend? I don't know what kind of trick you pulled off, Cyril. I didn't see you on the rails once. I was so far ahead of you, of course, that it would be impossible for you to see me. It's like he teleported or something. Sophia, we need those boosts. Working on it. Hank, we need those booby traps. Now you're talking, Valerie. Yes, if I was dictator of the world, I'm pretty sure I'd wipe out 99% of the world's population in the first month. Yeah, I am intolerant, but I'm not bigoted about it. I'm willing to detest everybody equally. And now apparently I've got to go to Prague, which is somewhere up this general direction. I think they said Prague. Did they not? Buy water coolant from Prague. Okay, well that's where Prague is. I would be expecting a wonderful little exclamation point on it. Well, we'll see what happens when we get there. Just making a quick look around the world to make sure there isn't an exclamation point somewhere which is not named Prague. I know how this game somehow does quirky things. Nope, there just are no exclamation points apparently anywhere. Okay, that's how you want to play it, game? So be it. Prague it is, unless we get intercepted along the way. Alrighty, well, there you go. Like I say, I'm not prejudiced, I'm willing to detest everybody equally. And that's a bit more money. So let me get some more jobs on the go, and then I will end this episode. Yes, it looks like Cyril is obviously in contact with Blackwell because he's the man that had the teleportation device. And it looks like Cyril used it to cheat. Is that the saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying? Well, apparently Cyril's trying very hard. Yeah, that gets me a load of jobs. Out of this place. And on to Jerusalem. Okay, well that's where I'm going to end this episode. Having been beaten by Cyril, who cheated. And hopefully I'll see you down the track for more Tiny Rails in the near future. Cheerio!